nerds, welcome to another episode of REDtalks.live. I am your host Nathan Pierce. You are awesome, and together we are going to have an episode on avoiding continuous disappointment. Now I know I used the word continuous there, which is meant to be shiny, fancy new DevOps things. Well, CI/CD has kind of two CDs, and I'm going to argue there's actually a third, and there's things we can do to avoid that one. CI, continuous integration. CD, well, that could mean continuous delivery or continuous deployment. Quick recap for those unfamiliar. Continuous delivery, typically code gets checked in, automated testing's kicked off, everything goes fine, code gets merged into branch, then code is generated, an artifact spits out the other end. That artifact is the productivity improving or revenue generating functionality that's been added, and that's ready to go. DevOps has been fantastic for streamlining that process to ensure that the end result is as consistent as the development environment, and we're good to go with common, stable expectations as a result. Fantastic work, DevOps. Fantastic work. Now, some have actually achieved the other CD, which is continuous deployment, which means extending that pipeline, not just to spitting out the artifact that then an ops team has to go and get into prod, and actually making it go the whole way into production itself. And that is fantastic. Some organizations have that luxury. Maybe they've gone full cloud native even on their end-to-end tooling, and that works for them. However, for many enterprises, that is not a reality. They still have networking and security technologies, and operations teams around those technologies have only ever operated as a CLI or a GUI mouse keyboard, and those input mechanisms are not really compatible with the way continuous delivery pipelines expect that to work. So now I'm not saying that those departments haven't done anything to evolve. In fact, DevOps kind of shone a spotlight on security and networking, and that industry responded. And I've seen, I really love how many tools have come out from vendors over the last 4 or 5 years of just management tools that significantly automate a lot of things that were manual, and that's great. However, in a typical enterprise network or security environment, there isn't just one tool. So now we've got automation management tool sprawl, and that's just as big a problem because these tools are very vendor-centric and they're downward-facing. They're not developed around how they can inherit and consume source of truth and use that information to understand what they should produce as an outcome so that continuous deployment can be realized. So between the two, we have the third CD, continuous disappointment. We get the continuous delivery and wait, and eventually continuous deployment. So how do we solve these two things? Now, if you're wondering, am I hating on ITIL right now? No, I'm not. I'm criticizing the way it's been implemented. Now, for many years, that process has been pull out the binder. If you're lucky, it's a PDF now, and follow the steps, and that's how we deploy and we implement. And as long as you follow those steps right, every time we've got our audit trail, we've got our accountability, and everything's going to be fine. However, if you're in an environment where actually we're constantly deploying new functionality and testing, and we're going to do some A/B testing of those features to see which is a good one, you cannot keep up. There are organizations now that still have delays of weeks, even months in some cases. And that is fundamentally incompatible with ensuring that new capabilities, new revenue generating or productivity improving capabilities are getting to their intended audience. Time to value is still horrible in those spaces. So what we need is something that can stitch together those worlds of pulling metadata out of that delivery pipeline and using that to ensure that the network and the security technologies are automatically configured while still applying those policies and that process, however, in an automated fashion, a reproducible fashion that we got from ITIL. It can be done. There are technologies that are very good at stitching those two worlds together. I mentioned last week Console. Fantastic at doing that. Picking up an environment variable or some kind of tag and understanding immediately that's part of service X I'm going to give it 10% of traffic because it's got a newer version than everything else. And I'm just going to tell that upstream application firewall, just keep sending traffic to this service name and I'll handle ensuring that the right amount gets to the right device and you just keep doing your job. Brilliant. These are the kind of things that we can achieve. And in this series, this is like number 2 in the series of avoiding continuous disappointment. I'm going to show you how some of these things work. There's a few different options. So we don't have to be stuck in continuous disappointment world. We don't have to throw away all of our policies and ITIL processes to fix this. We can still do it with a lot of that cool stuff. But we can make sure that we can get things straight from the creation of this value to its intended audience, and we can do it in an automated end-to-end fashion. So hopefully this has been useful. Hopefully this has been interesting enough for you to come back and see how we achieve it. And that's all I got for today. I've been Nathan Pierce. You've been awesome. This has been REDtalks.live. Thanks for listening.